In today's video, I will be exploring strategies of managing confidentiality in executive coaching. And so today it's essential that because in executive coaching, there is an element of vulnerability on the part of the client, because the client may share some sensitive information to you in course of the coaching process. And it is the responsibility of the executive coach, therefore, to preserve those information and not disclose it to third parties. So today I'm going to be exploring and looking at strategies, how you can balance the sensitive nature of the information you have received from the client and the demands of the sponsoring organization who are requiring regular updates or outcome or wanting to know what's going on in the coaching process. Now, this is Dr. Chumo Suchuku, your host on Apex Leadership Consult channel. Now, the very first thing that needs to be done is to establish clear communications. At the beginning of the coaching engagement, it is important and essential to establish very clear expectations and boundaries with the client, the sponsoring organization, and the executive coach. This includes outlining the scope of the coaching engagement, the confidentiality agreements, and of course, any limitations on sharing information. Now, the second way you can manage confidentiality in executive coaching is by defining the objectives. Define the objectives. It's important to clarify the objectives of the coaching engagement and the metrics that will be used to measure progress. Now, this enables you to share relevant information with the sponsoring organization without breaching confidentiality. Now, the third way it can be done is by developing a communication plan. Before the coaching process kicks off, it's important to develop a coaching plan with the client and the sponsoring organization. And this plan is to outline what information will be shared and how often. It's also important that this plan should be based on the client's needs and goals. The client's needs and goals and should be reviewed regularly to ensure that it's still relevant in course of the coaching. Another way you can manage this delicate balance between the confidentiality you owe your client and the sponsoring organization is by seeking the client's permission. It's important. I can't emphasize this enough, that seeking the client's permission before sharing any information with the organization, with the sponsoring organization is very crucial. It's very crucial. It's important to establish this relationship of trust and respect between you and your client. And what that means is that the client is aware of what information you are about to share with his or her organization. You should also make it clear that the client has the right to refuse. You are sharing this information. It is within their right to say, I don't want you sharing that information with my organization. And then you've got to respect it and use the success metrics that have been developed in course of the communication plan to then share what is necessary, what is relevant. It's important that when you're sharing with an organization what is going on between you and your executive client, that you focus on outcome. When sharing information with them, focus on outcome rather than specific details of the coaching. Share the client's progress and any changes in behavior or performance that can be attributed to the coaching, not necessarily the tiny details of the coaching process or some of the sensitive information the client has shared with you. Be transparent with the client and the sponsoring organization about what information you are sharing and why. This can help build trust and credibility on both sides, both the sponsoring organization and the client. In a situation where you have more than one executive you're coaching, and the organization is demanding to know what's going on with them. Anonymize it, share the information without breaching the confidentiality. The identity of the individuals would not be disclosed, but the outcome, critical success factors, and change in behavior and progress made can be highlighted without identifying the individual client. Lastly, consult with legal and ethical guidelines to ensure that you are not breaching any confidentiality obligation. This will help you make informed decisions about what information can be shared with the sponsoring organizations, and you're not breaking or breaching any confidentiality with your client. So you're maintaining the ethical standards. Balancing confidentiality and the sponsoring organization's demand for information can be challenging. But by setting clear expectations, seeking consent, sharing only relevant information, using anonymized data where there are more than one, and consulting legal and ethical guidelines, you can strike a fine and delicate balance between confidentiality and the sponsoring organization's need for overall. Balancing confidentiality with the sponsoring organization's need for information requires a sensitive and nuanced approach. Communication, negotiation, and respect for the client's privacy are essential for maintaining trust and building a successful coaching relationship with your client. If you've got any questions, any comments, you're interested in knowing or exploring more with me, executive coaching and leadership, be my guest. Subscribe to Apex Leadership Consult channel, and you'll be getting regular updates on this as the weeks go by. Till then, this is your host, Dr. Chuma Osuchukwu. See you again soon.